Hey everyone, today I'm going to react to Dave from BOYINABAND and his 30-day singing challenge.
Run, run, lost boy, they say to me.
So hey everyone, my name is Mishan. I'm a singer-songwriter and vocal coach, and if you're interested in singing lessons, I provide them online. Check out the link down below, my website, amvocalstudios.com. And if you're interested in a vocal critique where I will critique your voice either in audio format or video format, check out the link down below. Without further ado, let's jump in.
Hi, I'm Dave from BOYINABAND. A lot of people say that they can't sing, even though they would really like to. In fact, according to Google, singing is the most desirable skill people want for themselves. But people also wonder, is singing a talent or is it a skill? Is it something you're born with or is it something you can learn? Let's find out. I'm a vocalist and I really want to perform live, however I suck at singing. I don't know if this will come as a shock to anybody because I've been singing in quite a few of the songs I've released, but that's just because I use auto-tune. You really did not want to be in the room when I was recording those parts. It was genuinely bad. I've performed a lot of live shows before, but it was always non-melodic vocals like screaming or rapping. So if it's possible, I want to teach myself to sing well enough to perform live at my own shows. And I want to record.
So for those of you who don't know, BOYINABAND, Dave, he is a rapper slash singer, and he does a lot of original music from what I've heard of him on YouTube, and his original songs are really quite good. He's actually a very good producer and a very good rapper, a great lyricist as well, and he talks about really important and meaningful concepts in his songs. So I think they're really cool. And I thought it was interesting because actually in one of my videos, my vocal transformation video, it always suggests this video as the next video. So I figured, why not check it out and do a quick reaction of it. So let's see.
And measure the entire process so other people can see whether 1 hour a day of practice can actually improve your singing. If I fail, then whatever. One thing I want to do to keep things relatively scientific is to do tests periodically to see whether certain statistics change, like my vocal range, for instance. So the lowest I can go would be, and the highest. Okay, and then also there's my falsetto voice, so let's find that. And then the lowest falsetto for fun. That's a dumb sound. The next thing I want to...
Okay, so very interesting. So he split up his voice into his highest full range voice and his lowest full range notes, and then his lowest falsetto and his highest falsetto tones.
To do his lung capacity, so I guess I'm gonna have to try and hold the note quite consistently. The next thing I wanted to do is to actually...
Okay, so he was able to hold a note for 12 seconds. Okay, that should improve with practice.
Document the researching process, because that's a huge part of teaching yourself stuff, is figuring out how to do things. How to sing. He looks like he knows what he's talking about. That was pretty good though.
Learn to breathe low and utilize the longer, stronger muscles of the torso to draw the breath in low into the lungs and help the diaphragm to expand.
I've heard about this before, like having to sing from the diaphragm. I actually talked to my friend Vila about it and she called it her chest voice and the head voice. I have absolutely no clue how to do this, so this is perfect.
By golly, I...
Okay, so very interesting. He sounds like he's totally new to singing because chest voice and head voice has nothing to do with diaphragmatic breathing. Chest voice has to do with sound resonating out of your mouth, and head voice has to do with sound resonating out of your head. So this is like very new to him.
I'm using this hand a lot.
I like you, Eric.
I want you to try to focus your breath to make your hand move forward like this. Put your fingertips or your knuckles into your side ribs, and we're gonna breathe out side to side. Then relax.
So I'll do them every day. Let's find someone else and get another opinion, just to make sure.
One of the problems that most singers have is that when they go to sing high notes, what they're doing is they're raising their larynx up. Maybe you do this as
I was doing that, wasn't I?
You want to keep your larynx steady when you sing, and that's what this exercise will help you to do. This exercise is the mum exercise.
But I'm from the Midlands in England, so I would say mom.
Mum, 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 and then raise it up.
That's interesting because he said he would call it mum, which actually can sometimes help you get through your bridge, narrowing the vowel a little bit more like that, like you just said, as opposed to going mum, 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 as us Canadians or Americans do.
Mom.
It's added to the list. Day 2, I'm going to start with the exercises that I researched yesterday. Hands on the belly, relax shoulders. Thing was here, wasn't it? It's weird trying to make your ribs go sideways. Then the last one was the mum one, which Emo Danny from Game Grumps was suggesting. Ma 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 ma. I'm doing that thing with the larynx.
Interesting. Okay, so see, this is why learning on your own can only get you so far, because what I would have him do immediately is get rid of the throat tension he has near the end there. He might have just been doing it as a joke, but going mum, 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 it's not going to help you with singing per se. You know, it might be a funny way to do the scale, but as far as improving your singing, we want to keep everything as consistent from the bottom of our range to the top of our range as possible. So doing these kind of awkward, weird things in the middle are actually going to hurt our tone over time. So interesting that just came up right there.
It's too low. It's deeper, but it's just before it sounds stupid. Hey Kermit, mama.
Yeah, so he just it's really funny that he just mentioned "Hey Kermit," because that sound that he was going mum, that is called a canurdle. The canurdle is where you squeeze in the sides of your throat, and it creates this Kermit the Frog here type of sound. And what we want to do, that has nothing to do with lowering the larynx. That's actually a squeezing into the throat. To lower the larynx, what we want to do is almost kind of talk in the middle of a yawn. And that lowers the larynx down in your throat. So if you could give that a try, just talking while you're in the middle of a yawn. And so then you want to do the mums on that scale. Mum, 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 mum. Keeping that yawn feeling throughout.
Mum, God. I gotta go from the belly. Let's try that. Mum, 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 mum. Since the whole point of
Yeah, so there you go. He got it a little bit. His larynx stayed a lot more neutral there.
I'm gonna do a test now to see how I sound singing one of my own songs. So I'm just gonna be singing through my song Limelight I did with Cryotic in the lower register first, and then I'm gonna try the higher register. So this is gonna be absolutely terrible, particularly the higher register. This can't be the credits, you were the limelight, you were the limelight girl, and I'll never find another, and I'm never going to recover. Here comes the painful bit, sorry. This can't be the credits, you were the limelight, you were the limelight girl, and I'll never find another, and I'm never going to recover. Might be out of my range on that one. I hope that the lower one wasn't that bad to start with. Maybe that could be somewhere to aim if the other one is totally out of my range. I want to try doing something that my friend Vila...
It seems like I totally forgot what I was gonna say. It seems like a lot of his style of music requires a lot of very fast-paced, because he is a rapper, he says a lot of stuff on one breath. So for him, working on breath support and specifically breath management is going to make a huge difference for him.
Suggested. Just singing along to things.
I warm up much better just by singing songs. If I'm recording something that's going to be difficult for me to pull off, I'm going to spend 10 minutes before and just sing songs loudly to warm myself up.
Okay, so See, this is when people are getting tips from other singers that are speaking for themselves. It's not the best way to work on singing yourself. Here's why. For a trained singer, singing a song might be a great way to warm up their voice because technically they already have everything down pat. For a inexperienced singer that is trying to warm up his voice and doesn't have the technique down, what you're doing by singing to warm up your voice is you're embedding a lot of the bad habits that you've always sang with. You're just further embedding them into your voice. So I don't recommend doing that. Again, this is a problem with learning on your own. It's the free way to do it, but as I like to say, you can get things done free, fast, or right. You can't get all three, but you have to pick two. So if you want to get it done free and fast, that's one way to do it. But generally, if you want to get it fast and right, you generally want to do singing lessons from a proper vocal coach.
I always noticed that I was more in the range of was Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit when I was growing up, because he's not a spectacular singer. You think you're special?
It's funny that he mentioned that, because growing up I also did not have a wonderful voice, and I always likened myself to Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and for many years I likened my sound and tried to sound as much as I could like Anthony Kiedis.
You do, I can see it in your eyes.
You have to make sure you know your range, because if you're doing a song that's really out of your range, you're just gonna hurt your voice. Some people can't sing high.
I chime in, haven't you people ever heard? Way out of my range there. It's really difficult focusing on the technique while I do that, like focusing on breathing through my diaphragm. I suppose that's the whole point. Find your vocal range.
See, but that's the issue, is that when you have a song that requires all these different vowel changes, all these different consonant changes, all these constant pitch changes, how are you supposed to be able to figure out what to do with your body? That's why we have exercises that simplify it to just one consonant, one vowel, or just noise. And then that way we're able to just focus on the one part of the technique that you're working on. So that's why you don't sing to warm up.
I'll loop a tiny bit. Yeah, it's around a B4. Okay, let's loop the lowest. Okay, now we know that my vocal range is from D sharp 2 to B4, like in my main voice, not the falsetto, the chest voice. We can find out what the name of my vocal range is. I might be a bass, but there are, like, I can go between a bass and a tenor, I think, then. Practice all your vowels at every pitch. Every single pitch, all infinity of them. Here are some of the pure vowels to practice with. Ah, as in...
Another thing is, unless you're singing opera, finding out whether you're a bass, you're a baritone, or you're a tenor doesn't really matter. Or if you're a woman, an alto or a soprano, whatever it is, doesn't matter unless you're singing opera.
E as in eat. I as in pin. How do you sing? What a horrible sound. As in pet. Oo as in food. As in nut. I'm not gonna make the joke. So I'm down in London at the moment on day 6 of this project. I'm going to first of all find an app which can...
Glad he was introduced to the lip roll, so this already is going to help a lot with his breath management.
Give me a reference pitch, vocalist light. That's so cool. What's my normal talking voice? What kind of range do I generally talk in? Hi, I'm Dave from BOYINABAND, and now you know what pitch that was in. There's apparently a game as well. Let's see what that is. Nah. This is way more my kind of thing. I'm definitely going to look into doing more app stuff tomorrow, since that actually had real-time feedback, which is fantastic. There was another app that I...
So there you go. How he's doing the lip roll there is not so helpful. If he were taking a lesson, in one lesson I could correct that and show him exactly how he should be doing the lip roll. And the changes would happen so much faster.
Wanted to try, which I found called Sing Sharp, which is ironically not what I want to do. Let's try vocal range. Oh, this actually shows me my vocal range. I went down to F sharp too with just talking. Interesting. That thinks I can go down to C sharp too.
And Dave, that's not how you get to your lower range. So this is a problem that many untrained singers have, is that they'll go, oh, just till it's just air. But there's nothing down there. There's no presence. What you need to do is close your vocal cords. You need to get, you need to get down low by engaging vocal cord closure. You're not going to be able to go, oh, to the bottom of your range, because you're just going to bottom out on air.
F sharp 5 it said there, but it looks like it's gone all the way. This isn't perfect. Oh, it's got tons of different warm-up exercises. Let's see how these work. My score, 78. Man, I want to beat the score already. Scale octave jump. If I do falsetto, it's not so bad. 62. This is actually really fun. I want to keep going. Whew. 95. Jesus.
See, the problem with all these apps is that, yes, they're giving you real-time feedback, but the only thing they're giving you feedback on is your pitch. Nothing to do with tone or strain. None of that is factored into any of these apps.
Yeah. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. Freaking yes! I really like the Sing Sharp app. And I know that this is just improving like pitch recognition and agility.
I'm glad he realized that it's just pitch recognition.
More than tone, so I might actually sound really, really bad, even though I am technically hitting the notes. I figure if I can get the pitch recognition, then I can work on the tone personally by recording and thinking, oh, okay, maybe there's something I can do there, or by talking to some friends I have who can sing. But
or a coach that can show you exactly what you need to do to get the right tone.
Your mind, what do you mean? 'Cause we're running out of time, what do you mean? Better make up your mind. I will not be...
Did not see him singing Justin Bieber. That's interesting. That's another thing, is that vocal runs. The best way to learn vocal runs, to break them down, take them slow.
Able to do that vocal run. I had to fall to lose it all, but the party don't stop, no, oh, oh, oh. Oh my god, that's right at the top of my range, and it's like proper workout for my abs. All right, doing the tests. Oh, only going down to there today. I think that's like a crossover of my falsetto voice and my main voice, and I didn't even know that was a thing. So I'll have to research that, I guess. Hell yeah. I'm getting more consistent with that now. Not too good at the end there. But that was like the best score I've got yet. Jesus, today is going well. That is the first time I've successfully done the exercises that came with the app without failing one of them, like past this threshold, 90 for beginner, 80 for intermediate, 70 for expert, that I set at the start. That's awesome. I have actually improved. So it wasn't quite the resounding success that yesterday was, but it was still only one mistake where normally it's considerably more than that.
Not quite sure what exercise this is and what it's supposed to be doing for his voice.
You can basically be on the high end of a note, or the low end of a note, Sharp, that basically means you are really aiming for the top of a note. You want to instead think of your notes as existing on the bottom of the circle. Ideally, we want to aim for the center, but just to overcompensate at first.
I don't know if I hit notes consistently flat or consistently sharp. I think it's more flat, but I'll write that idea down.
I find it easier to go back.
Most people who are experiencing strain in their voice will consistently hit notes flat.
Back down to the lower notes after singing the higher notes if I go more breathy. Much better to face these kinds of things with a sense of the circle is complete. Reaching out. I have too much diaphragm push when I go back down from the really high intensity high notes to the quieter low notes that don't require as much pushing. My muscles don't naturally go back down to that very quickly yet. By being more breathy, it gives me a bit of a kind of buffer, so that extra push has somewhere to go. It would be cool to be able to actually do it without that, but I found a technique that works for now.
Yeah, so you definitely don't need to go breathy to go from your high range to your low range. That doesn't quite make sense. You should be able to do that as long as there's no strain in your voice. And I think that's the key is that he's missing, is that there is still that strain happening in his voice.
Hello! Oh! What do you mean? What do you mean?
I'm just gonna take that as not real singing.
Hell yeah. I keep forgetting things like using the correct breathing, and that's something I've got to get into the habit of. And that just shows that I'm learning something different and new, which is probably useful, because it's not yet in my muscle memory. I'm not just doing the same mistake over and over again. Now what I see is what I get. How can I be too late?
Wow, that was good. That was actually really good.
I don't want to break. Wait for whoever's at the door to go so they don't hear me making an idiot out of myself. But the internet can, that's fine. Didn't recognize that as a note. Still counts. Prescribe pills to offset the shakes, to offset the pills. You know you should. Prescribe. Can't hit the note anymore. I'm not using my abs enough. Need something lower. Chocolate rain. I can't hit
yeah, you don't want to overload too much abdominal push in order to sing. You're overloading the vocal cords with too much air pressure. And so thinking just adding more, it's not always about adding more. Singing is about balance. It's not about, overdoing the salt. That's kind of essentially what he's saying. It's like, this dish isn't quite right. I just need to add a little more salt. At a certain point, it's like, no. We've got to balance this dish out. Maybe it doesn't need more salt.
I can't hit notes above a certain point anymore, so I think I must have pushed it too hard with that first song. I've got to be much more careful to use my diaphragm rather than my throat when I'm singing that high. It's day 30 of what was initially, at least, a 30-day project to improve my singing ability, so today's going to be quite interesting to see whether or not I have actually improved. I'll never find another, and I'm never going to recover. This can't be the credits. You were the limelight, you were the limelight girl, and I'll never find another, and I'm never going to recover. My voice didn't stop being able to go up there, which is a slight improvement, but it's still nowhere near being able to sing it live. It's not as bad as it was.
Still a little strained, so that strain on it was making it the tone suffer, and that's really the main issue there.
But it's still pretty bad.
That said, one thing I didn't notice until editing this video was just how much better it was compared to when I started. This is my auto-tune software, Melodyne, which measures the notes before it auto-tunes them, so these are the notes that I hit the first try. Now here in blue, I've roughly overlaid the notes I should have hit to sing the song correctly. You can see it's really far off. I had 23 notes where it wasn't even close, 11 notes where it was touching the note it was supposed to, and 1 note correct. Yay. Now on day 30, I had 17 notes that were wildly off, 8 notes touching the note it's supposed to, and 10 notes hit correctly. You can see the improvement, particularly on this little run here. So it's 30 days since I started, and I've noticed some things have changed. Here's the lowest note I hit at the start. And here's the lowest note I hit on day 30. If we take a look at all of the tests in Melodyne, it basically stayed around E flat 2 the entire time. The highest note was initially, and by the end it was this. So that also didn't improve. It stayed around G5 throughout. But then I hadn't been training my super high falsetto apart from a few attempts at singing Muse. I've been focused on trying to extend the range of my chest voice. Now when it comes to measuring if the chest voice range increased, I ran into a problem. I realized about halfway through that my range seemed to vary wildly. My highest note could go from all the way down here to all the way up here. Eventually I learned I had sometimes been using what's called my mixed voice, a crossover between the chest voice and the head voice. I separated the tests I did which sounded like pure chest voice, and that did seem to increase a little bit over the month. But what I can accurately measure is my low falsetto range. It went from this to this, making it the biggest range increase of all. So now I just have to write songs that sound like, and I'm set. Here's all the lung capacity tests I did from day 1 to day 31. Some days are missing from when I was too ill to sing or when I forgot because I'm an idiot. Also, I've auto-tuned them so you can enjoy a pretty choir instead of the... I didn't expect an improvement on that scale in such a short time. Another thing I noticed, since I started using my stomach muscles as opposed to my throat muscles, I was a lot more consistent and able to stay up in the higher range for longer. Here's the test I did on day 3 where I sang on one...
Yes, and so it has to be finessed a little bit because it seems like now he wants to use his abdominals to the maximum, but definitely, if you start using your abdominal muscles and start to offset the pressure from your throat down towards your lower abdominals, really what you want to do is your lower abdominals, your pelvic region, you want to get that down low, activating that area when you're singing.
Note near the top of my range for as long as I could before my voice wouldn't stay up there anymore. And there it goes. Now here's the same test on day 10, after I'd learned to use my diaphragm rather than my throat to sing. I noticed my tone sounded different as a result. It was clearer and less strained. I couldn't believe there was such a huge change in literally 1 week, but I was able to stay up there for over twice as long. Also, it didn't hurt, which is probably a good thing.
It also doesn't hurt to breathe in between phrases.
Overall, I've definitely improved in some aspects, not in others. For instance, the pitch thing, I'm still missing the notes. However, my voice is a lot more powerful, and I'm able to stay powerful for longer. Like I'm selling a drug. So is singing a skill, or is it a talent? To be honest, it's mostly a skill, I'd say, from what I've seen. It's something that can be trained, but there are people who naturally just are able to hit pitches more easily than I am, for instance.
Definitely it can be trained. I think that's probably why they suggest this video after my singing transformation video. It's because they're really showing the same thing, is that singing is a skill that can be learned, and it's not a natural born talent. Yes, there are people who are born talented, but anyone can learn to sing. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did, hit the like button. Please make sure to subscribe. Right next to the subscribe button, when you hit it, there's a bell so that you get new notifications. Click that. When new videos come out, you'll get email notifications. And till the next video, I'll see you guys later.